Good afternoon, everybody. Pigskin Pete here. Happy Wednesday to everybody. Just a little bit of coverage for early signing day, 2018. Sort of a weird time to do early signing day, right before Christmas. It's got to the point now where this early signing day is really almost the main signing day because 75% of commits sign on this early signing day. So there's only about 25% of the pool, for lack of a better term, left in the country to sign at the actual signing day in February. Now, this signing day goes on for 3 days, so this not everything is written in stone as of right now. And there's still more coming in as I'm recording this. Listen, there's a lot of storylines throughout college football. I can't cover it all. This would be a 2-hour-long video, which I can't do and you don't want to watch. So what I'm going to cover today is just some of the main storylines and, of course, Clemson in particular, since I am a Clemson guy. First and foremost, as far as the storylines go, Ohio State is probably the biggest storyline. They have dropped way out of the stratosphere. Since Urban Meyer became the head coach at Ohio State, they have been a top 5 class year in, year out. They, as of right now, have dropped all the way down to 18th. Now, that has a lot to do with Urban Meyer leaving. We all understand that. And, of course, there is some time between now and the February signing day for them to gain some ground back. But to fall from, top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 at the lowest, year in, year out, all the way to number 18 is a bit of a blow for Ohio State. And we'll see what Ryan Day can do, not just this year. I mean, it's to be expected that Ohio State's going to drop because of Urban Meyer retiring. But what will Day do next year? That's the real question here. You can afford to drop, for one signing class because of the change of head coach. But will we see them slip it for a longer term period, or is this just a sort of a 1-year anomaly? I don't know. We'll all find out together. But as of yesterday morning, Clemson has 24 commitments and number 6 in the class. Today they moved up to number 5. And the other schools up in the top 5, Alabama, Georgia, Texas A&M, LSU. Oregon is a big surprise as well. Oregon's having one hell of a class. They got the number 1 recruit in the country, who was choosing between Alabama and a couple of other schools. Anyway, chose Oregon. Oregon's killing it right now. So look for Oregon to really make some noise here in the Pac-12 in the next couple of years. You don't normally see a very immediate impact with these high rankings. It's usually a year or 2 removed because obviously they don't, most of the time these true freshmen don't have a huge impact. I'm not saying all the time, but most of the time they don't. But so Oregon's going to be making some noise. Obviously, Alabama does what Alabama does. Georgia is just killing it year in, year out since Kirby Smart got there. And last year they were number 1. This year they're going to be the top 3 again. So Georgia's absolutely killing it. As far as Clemson goes, Clemson is doing something in these past few years that's pretty much unprecedented, unless you're Alabama. Not only are we, high in recruiting rankings overall nationally, but our reach extends further than most schools in the Southeast do. I mean, last year we signed the number 1 player out of 7 different states, which is the first time and only time that's ever happened in recruiting. And something's going on with the microphone. Sorry. That's why I wear the headphones in the first place, because when something's going on with the microphone, I got to be able to hear it. Anyway, so our reach this year, again, is extending all throughout the Southeast and to the West Coast. We're signed a 5-star receiver out of California. The first time that we've signed a receiver from California, or any player from California, since 1991, which is a long time here. I'll get into that in a second. Let's just look at a few of these Clemson signees as of today. We've got... hold on here. I'm looking at. I didn't bother to write this down. I'm looking at it on my phone. But anyway, okay. So cornerback, defensive back, Andrew Booth, out of Lawrenceville, Georgia. Georgia and Florida is Clemson's bread and butter in the past 10 years. We signed tons of elite talent 4- and 5-star players out of Miami area, all throughout Florida, and of course Georgia. I mean, just look at our recent rankings in Georgia. I mean, we are just plucking out of the state of Georgia, particularly quarterbacks and wide receivers. I mean, Deshaun Watson, Trevor Lawrence, two the biggest name quarterbacks that ever come through Clemson, most highly ranked, both from the state of Georgia. Anyway, cornerback Andrew Booth from Lawrenceville, Georgia, 6'1", 188 pounds, 5-star, number 2 cornerback in the state of Georgia, number 19th overall in the nation. He chose Clemson over Auburn. Unbelievable get there. I mean, Clemson's weakness is their defensive backs. Now, the misconception with Clemson's backfield on defense is that we have bad cornerback play. That's not true at all. Our real weakness has been at safety. This year, in particular, we do have elite corner play. We are very thin at safety in particular, which is why you see a lot of big plays like in the South Carolina game over the middle of the field. That's the safeties part of the field, depending on what coverage they're playing. But so anyway, anytime we can get 4 or 5-star talent, elite talent in the back end of our defense, that's a great day to be a Clemson Tiger. So that's a great one there. This is the guy I was just talking about. Wide receiver Joe Nada from Folsom, California. 6'3", 210 pounds, 4-star receiver, number 5 wide receiver in the state of California, number 39 overall nationally. Chose Clemson over Washington, Alabama, and Notre Dame. This guy's brother plays for Washington. He plays on, I want to say he's a linebacker or something, or maybe a defensive tackle. Anyway, he's a defensive player for the University of Washington right now. They're very close in age, only like 2 years apart. Anyway, so we've been recruiting this guy for a long time, and obviously he's happy with what he sees at Clemson. We also have the number 1 overall recruit in the country, the number 1 quarterback recruit in the country for the 2020 class. Also seriously considering Clemson. He took a couple of visits this year to Clemson. He's going to take a third, I want to say next season. And he's leaning Clemson. Of course, it's way too early to call him a Tiger at this point. 2020 is a long time away as far as football recruiting goes. But that would be another huge get, obviously. And that would be Trevor Lawrence's last year, most likely as a Tiger. So that the timing would be perfect if we end up getting that guy. But that's projecting ahead. Next on the list, another defensive back, cornerback. Sheridan Jones of Norfolk, Virginia. This is a 6'1", 175-pound guy, 4-star recruit. Number 34 in Virginia, 332 overall, which doesn't sound impressive when you start talking about, in top 5 ranking recruiting class. But again, 4-star recruits, especially in the back end of the defense, I'm not complaining. So... next on the list, we have a linebacker, Brighton Constantine of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. This would be the 3rd Louisiana player in the past few years. Obviously, Travis Etienne from Louisiana. We got another one this last year, and I'm sorry, I don't have any of this written down. And of course, this guy. So Louisiana has been a place that we've just now gotten into in the past few years, and now we're starting to get a reputation there. So it's not just Georgia, Florida, North Carolina, Virginia, South Carolina, and Florida. We are extending to places like Tennessee and Louisiana. Tennessee is another big one you'll see in this particular recruiting class. I believe we got 2 4-stars, or maybe a 3-star and a 4-star, committing to Clemson out of the state of Tennessee, which is huge for us. Anyway, this guy, he chose between Clemson over Florida and Mississippi State were the other 2 that he was choosing between. Next on the list, this is a big need for Clemson. This is what I've been mentioning. Safety, Joseph Charleston of Alpharetta, Georgia. 6'2", 190 pounds, 4-star recruit. Number 8 safety, and number 14th in the state of Georgia, 122 overall nationally. Again, this is our biggest area of need. On defense, we have no problem whatsoever. I mean, all you got to do is look at who we got on the field. I mean, just to give you some perspective here, because this is the number 1 thing you're going to hear after this season's over. Whether Clemson goes on to win a national title or whether they lose to Notre Dame and the season's over, it doesn't matter. The number 1 thing you're going to hear from all the haters out there and from all the people who don't really understand the roster of Clemson is, oh, you guys are losing all of your NFL defensive line. you guys are going to fall off the map. We heard the same thing with the offense after Taj Boyd left and after Deshaun Watson left. The offense continues to get better and better. We are in place. Clemson's defense is so stacked. We have 5 stars sitting on the bench behind these guys that are leaving for the NFL. Guys like Xavier Thomas, who has been playing this year and will continue to play. KJ Henry, and some other guys you've never heard of, but these are the best of the best. Our defensive line, while next year may lack a little bit of experience, we're not lacking talent. The defensive line at Clemson is stacked for several years to come, and we continue to recruit at a high level at those positions. We signed 2 more 5-star defensive tackles in this class that I'll get to in a second if they're on this list here. So anyways, so the front 7 for Clemson, despite the fact that we're losing, the talent that we're losing to the NFL after this year is not going anywhere, people. I promise you. Just all you got to do is pay attention. But anyway, a huge get at a very sensitive position on this football team, safety. So glad to have him. Here's another one. Here's an interesting one. Quarterback. I cannot pronounce this guy's name, so I'm not going to attempt to butcher it. Anyway, his first name is Tyson, and it's Taisun. Tyson. His last name, I can't even begin to try to pronounce it. I would just make a fool out of myself, which is very easy to do since I am a fool. And yeah. Oh, Pete Jr. said he loves Tyson too. He just told you. Do you hear that? Anyway, a 4-star quarterback recruit, number 5 dual threat quarterback in America, number 3 prospect out of the state of Connecticut. This is interesting because this is not the first major athlete we've got out of the state of Connecticut. A lot of people don't think about Connecticut as far as football goes. But this is not the first one that we've had in recent years. And there's been a lot of comparisons made between this young man and Deshaun Watson as far as their skill set. He has an elite arm. He is very mobile. He's got a deceptively big arm. And when I say deceptively, what I mean is he's not a huge kid, but he can throw the ball a mile, and he has a very clean release, and he's very accurate, which is why I compare him a lot to Deshaun Watson. Those are all the same attributes that Deshaun Watson was described as having coming out of high school. Only difference is this kid's labeled as a 4-star, and Deshaun Watson was labeled as a 5-star. But listen, 4-star, 5-star, we're splitting hairs here. Believe me, there's probably 100 or more universities out there that would give their left arm to have this kid sign at their school, and he's signing at ours. So next on the list, linebacker Kane Patterson of Nashville, Tennessee. This is what I just got done saying. So Tennessee is not necessarily Clemson's biggest recruiting bed, but we've gone and stole. I say stole because the University of Tennessee is in Tennessee last time I checked. And so anytime we go in there and get a highly touted recruit out of that state, I consider that stealing. Okay. But anyway, so linebacker Kane Patterson, Nashville, Tennessee. And of course, Nashville is where Vanderbilt is located. But anyway, so this guy is the 4-star, number 5 Tennessee prospect, 138 overall. Chose Clemson over Ohio State. So it looks like, according to the 24/7 Sports here, he wasn't even considering going to Tennessee or Georgia, which is kind of surprising. Let's see here. Next on the list, running back Chase Mellusi of Naples, Florida. Now, this is one of several players we've got out of the state of Florida every year. This is nothing new. And this is another area that Clemson has really locked down. Over the past 20 years, Clemson has not been known for elite running back play. That all changed starting around the time that Clemson's success started happening, right around 2010. Of course, we had guys like Andre Ellington back when Taj Boyd was playing, moved on to Wayne Gallman. And, of course, now we've got a stable of guys, Feaster, Etienne, Lynn J. Dixon, who's a true freshman, and the guy is an all-world running back. So we're just getting deeper and deeper and deeper at the position of running back. This isn't a big guy. Listen, 6'1", 205. I say he's not big. Etienne's not even 6 feet. He's 5'11". But the guy runs like a bowling ball, and he moves like Barry Sanders. So the combination of the two, the height is not so important as your running ability as far as that goes. This guy chose Clemson over Notre Dame and Miami. So Miami let that one slip away. Let's see here. Linebacker Vonta Bentley, Birmingham, Alabama. Now, this is another state that we've been dipping into a lot recently. Of course, Justin Ross from Alabama was the number one player overall out of the state of Alabama last year. Came to Clemson. Now we got this guy. He's a 3-star recruit. Also, and I must have skipped over this one because I'm not going to go all the way into these 3- and 2-star players here, but I must have skipped over him. Here we go. This is a huge get for wide receiver university. Wide receiver Frank Ladson out of Miami South Dade. If you're a Miami fan, and I know I have several of you that do watch this show, this is one you can't get out of your backyard. Hell, even if you're a Florida State or Florida fan, this guy is as good as it gets in the wide receiver world. 5-star, 6'4", 186 pounds. This guy is a monster. They say they have him officially listed as a 4-star. Most publications, including 24/7 Sports, have him listed as a 5-star. I don't know which one you go by, but listen, he's the number 4 overall wide receiver in Florida and the number 27 overall player in the nation. So that's a 5-star if I ever heard of one. This guy has been being recruited for a long time to come to Clemson, and of course he made it official, or as official as it's going to get today. He never really did flip. I mean, he considered going. Let's see where it says he considered going to. He chose Clemson over Alabama and Miami. So he was really looking at Clemson, Alabama, and Miami were his 3 choices, and for him to pick Clemson over either one of those schools, being Miami is his home state, and of course Alabama is Alabama. That's a huge get. But that's one that we knew we've been getting for a while, but you never really know. You never really know until you get them. So Wide Receiver University continues to expand its reach. We've got so many great wide receivers over the years out of the state of Florida. It's not even funny. And there's got to be a point, if you're a Miami fan or even a Florida fan, you can't let guys like Frank Ladson get out of your grasp. You just can't. Clemson just continues to rack up and load up on talent from all these different states, and it's great. It's great. You're not going to hear any complaining from Pigskin Pete. So, again, I could sit here and go down this list, and there'll be more to come in the next day or two. And then we'll have some late signees. You know, people like Travis Etienne, when he was a late signee, he signed on the very, very last day that you could sign. And he's ended up being one of our best offensive players in many years. So you don't go just off of what happens in December. There's more in February, and there's even some late additions after that. But so anyway, listen, I just did Clemson players today. Again, I could go through Alabama's and Georgia's and everybody else. We'd be here all day. If you're a fan of any other team other than Clemson, or if you're a fan of Clemson, if you want to, Alabama, Ohio State, if you're a Ohio State fan, let me know what's going on with that. Are you worried? Notre Dame, Georgia, Texas, Southern Cal, Oklahoma. The list goes on and on. Miami, let me know. LSU, let me know who, first of all, are you happy with the way that your signing class is going so far? And instead of giving me a long list of names that I'll have to look up, and I'll be here till midnight looking them up on my phone, tell me the 1 or 2 players that you're most excited about signing in this class, and how do you think they will impact your team here in the very near future, i.e. the next year or 2. So that's it. I'll be back on tomorrow. We can talk about all about recruiting tomorrow on my live show at 4 p.m. Everybody have a great day. It's a great day to be a Tiger. Have a great day. Pigskin.